Beaufort County Councilman Stephen Murray joins me now. We're glad to have you on the show today, Councilman.
Hey, good morning, Danielle. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, of course. So let's talk long-term, first of all. Tell us about the Beaufort 2030 initiative.
Yeah, so Beaufort 2030 is very exciting. For the last couple of years, council and staff's been trying to get more feedback from local residents and constituents on how they want to see the city sort of invest their resources and priorities moving forward. We created a strategic plan a couple of years ago, and so 2030 was an attempt to gather more feedback. We invited 80 stakeholders, so we call them the usual suspects. About 40 of the 80 were people who generally interact with the city and we're used to seeing at boards and commissions and at council meetings. The other 40 were folks that we thought needed to have a say in city government and what's going on, and that folks that don't usually interact with us. And so we gave them personal invites to come and attend. It was 2 full-day sessions. We worked with the country's leading expert in strategic foresight, also called Futuring, Rebecca Ryan. We considered a pile of actual data trends of things that are going to occur to this community over the next 10 to 20 years. And then those groups broke down and prioritized those things through a really kind of cool, engaging process, again, over the course of 2 days. So now we've got what we call the Beaufort 2030 plan. It's about a 15 to 20 page document that you can find online at cityofbeaufort.org. And then council will start using that plan and integrating some of those priorities into our strategic plan.
Now, you recently had a strategic planning retreat, or council did rather. Is that really what led to creating this 2030 initiative?
Yeah, so good question. We sometimes almost suffer from planning fatigue, especially during the first part of the year. So the strategic plan is something that council started about 2 years ago, and it really gets down into our most important goals. So there's 6 goals in the current plan. We'll probably expand that to 7 this year. It gets down into goals, the tactics on how we'll start making progress towards achieving those goals, and then measurements of success. How do we know that we're making progress towards those goals? And so what we did this year is, since we had the 2030 document, we were able to kind of overlay that over our strategic plan and had a really great conversation, again, with council staff and some stakeholders about how do we integrate 2030 goals, which are more long-term by the year 2030, with our strategic plan goals, which are really sort of immediate short-term goals. The good news is that council's been working towards creating better jobs, the economic development front, affordable housing, infill development, trying to retain more of our exiting military. And what was really interesting was that out of the 2030, there were a lot of alignment of goals from 2030 into what we're already doing in our strategic plan. So it was kind of validating for us that we were headed in the right direction. So it didn't require a lot of change, I guess.
So 2030, of course, is a little ways off, but what upcoming items are happening in the city that you think our viewers would like to know?
Yeah, so we're getting ready to start a budget process. And I think, candidly, I've been a little disappointed over the last 4 years that I've been on council because we don't see a lot of citizens engage in the budget process. Candidly, it is a little boring when we have department heads come in and go through each departmental budget. We have our nonprofit stakeholders come in and go through each of their processes. But it's really how we spend tax dollars and how we spend the public's money to help drive sort of the goals and directives of the city. And so I encourage people to be a part of that process. If they can't come in and physically be at the meetings, we are live streaming all meetings now on Facebook at City Beaufort SC.
Fantastic. Councilman Murray, we are out of time, unfortunately, but thank you so much for stopping by, as always.
Yep, Danielle, thank you for having me on. And again, hope residents and citizens will connect with us online or come to physical meetings at Beaufort City Hall.
After the break, we have a heart for the arts with Beaufort High's theater teacher, Lorraine Fest. Stay right there.